cortex. But it's part of the cortex in my temporal side and my frontal. Now, do we know everything it does? Probably no. Do we know what everything the brain does anyway? No. That's your picture from your textbook of the representation for all those nuclei. They're trying to show you, and see, you know how I've been trying to keep pointing to this little area? Okay? The reason I just keep pointing to the little area is not well defined. Okay? So, they're trying to show the little cutout and then bringing up here, showing you all these groups, one of the 5 that the 23 nuclei exist in.
So that whole picture is of the thalamus, and then it's breaking down the different sections of it.
Right. So if they have at this point put together 5 groups, we know that the 23 nuclei we know of. Okay, there could be more. All right, the 23 nuclei we know of fall into one of these 5 groups. So they tell us we have an anterior group because it's pointing in this direction. We have a medial group right through the middle. We have the ventral group, kind of if you think about where we're ventral. Okay, this would be ventral, the underside. We got lateral group and then the posterior. So these are the 5 groups. And of the 23 nuclei we know of, they fall into one of them. Of the groups that exist, these are the things of the body that occur that they deal with. So that thalamus, we have determined that it plays a part in memory, emotion, awareness of emotions. We can see that we have some signals from the cerebellum and the basal to motor areas of the cortex. We see that it contributes to emotional function of that limbic system, which we're not really fully aware of yet. Visual, auditory, these are things we know. We don't know all of it yet, okay? But of the 23 nuclei that we know, these are things that are affected by those 5 groups. Thalamus is pretty busy, to say the least, okay? Because it's trying to determine all the sensory information going in, where do I have to send it? Because you don't want a signal from your big toe, and this is just a huge exaggeration, but I hope y'all know that. You don't want the signal of your big toe being sent to an area for your ear. Could be interesting. Did y'all ever watch House? And it was, I think she was a pilot with the Air Force or something, and she could, it was either she could see sound or hear call. It was one or the other. Okay, I can't remember which one it was. Okay, it was really cool though. You know, but that's a cool show. So, my thalamus. But once again, part of the primitive area of my brain, the hypothalamus. Now, I did point out that we do know that it forms that bottom part, that W, okay? But in the region, in the area of it, okay, we're going to see that it extends to the optic chiasm, the nerves going to the occipital area. We say that it has mammillary bodies. That's part of the labeling for it. The primary function is to relay signals from the limbic system to the thalamus. We find that the pituitary gland, those of you who have that, we have it connected to the hypothalamus. And that stalk that it's trying to show on these models that we have, that's called the infundibulum, which is a tract that's connecting the hypothalamus to the pituitary. That's the term for it. It is a major control center of my endocrine and autonomic nervous system. I cannot stress the term major enough. Plays a major role in homeostasis, which is what?
Your body's keeping balance.
You are maintaining your internal environment. Now, let me add to that.
Is it the temperature?
I'm going to add to that. It's not only meaning that you are maintaining homeostasis for this as a whole, it means you're maintaining homeostasis for every cell of the body. So, therefore, if this is primitive and concerned with the species as a whole, this means we're going to be worried about nutrients getting to a cell, that we're worried about reproductive organs working, that we are worried about blood flow through the body. Do you see where I'm going? Okay, so now it's no longer, for example, just maintaining the body temperature. For example, we're looking at, we've got to maintain pH, we've got to maintain oxygen levels, we've got to maintain CO2 levels. Well, I mean, all these things working in the body that we are just not even aware of. Because this is taking care of it. And areas of the brainstem. The nuclei that we're going to find in the hypothalamus, they're control centers for hormone secretion. What comes to mind when you hear hormone? Thyroid.
Testosterone.
Testosterone.
Estrogen.
Estrogen. We're going to see there are so many more that become important. So, hormone secretion, autonomic effects, viscera of the body, thermoregulation, temperature, food and water intake, gastric secretions, motility, that sort of thing, sleep and circadian rhythms. Here I go again. Sleep is very important, y'all. Memory. Memory, emotional behavior, and sexual response. Anything that's primitive, anything that's keeping this species alive. Note how I just kind of drew a line right here for the epithalamus, okay? Okay, yes, I understand that a lot of people, you know, the epithalamus, okay, I am not going to talk about that a whole lot. Epithalamus is there. It's a very, like I said, very small mass of tissue, mostly composed of the pineal gland. And yeah, okay, I do understand with, you know, some sleep and everything, but I just think there are other areas that are more fun. This is that hypothalamus. And trying to represent our nuclei that are there. So we know that the nuclei, we've put them into, once again, these groups, all right? They're trying to represent them with their matching colors, all right? So 10 that we know of, okay? These are the groups. These are those nuclei that we're going to find. But now, take a peek at what it affects. Read what it affects. Has it missed anything? Anything missing that our bodies might do? The stuff you're paying attention to? Love the hypothalamus. It is, without a doubt, most amazing. We're going to get more in detail with it because that right there, and then that little pituitary gland, the little thing swinging off of it from the stalk right there. That right there, pretty much controlling everything. I mean, that's my endocrine system. But it's connected with my nervous system. Can't take the two apart. So, these primitive areas are in control of just about pretty much everything on the inside. Pretty much. You're going to find out how and why. And this, because this is like the endocrine system, and because of everything that it controls, and the many things that can go wrong, okay? Like, for example, if it's involved in, say, for this hormonal control of reproductive functions, if you've ever known somebody who's ever had issues with trying to get pregnant or whatever, they get sent to someone, an endocrinologist, for example, okay, and they can begin to test all of this. They have come a long way now in being able to test what can happen with this system. And it's amazing. Do you know anybody who might have like a condition, maybe where it was their thyroid or their reproductive or something? But no, anything with the endocrine. Do you know anything about someone who might have something wrong with this area? Yeah.
We have a patient that it's like Prader-Willi syndrome, where like she was in sexual hunger, so like her medial lymph isn't like she doesn't have it where she can stop eating, so she continues to eat.
Oh,
until
how old is she?
28.
Wow. Okay, that's a new one on me. Okay.
And one of my jobs, it's like most of the other ones like this. So we had, and like when I was night shift, I had to wait 30 people, was it, 5, 6 in the morning?